Welcome to NYSID's 2020 annual meeting. If you're an executive director, your mic will be muted for the vote, but if you need to access the chat feature, that will be available to you. And without further ado, introducing Michelle King from ARC Lexington, who will be singing the national anthem. Would everyone please rise?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the hope of the brave.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Crosley, President and CEO of ARC Herkimer, and currently board chair for New York State Industries for the Disabled. I would like to thank Michelle King for that great rendition of our national anthem. And I would now like to call the 2020 annual meeting of New York State Industries for the Disabled to order. Relative to a quorum, NYSID currently has 100 certified members in good standing. 10% of the members in person, virtually, or by proxy constitutes a quorum. We have more than 10 members in attendance, and therefore we have a quorum. First item of business is the approval of the 2019 minutes. All members received via email a copy of the draft minutes of the 2019 annual meeting. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the 2019 minutes as presented? Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Alan. We have to use the chat feature to see if we have any questions or objections to approving the 2019 minutes, or if there are any from the floor. Majority vote of those members in attendance constitutes the action of the membership. We have a majority vote in favor of the approval of the 2019 minutes as presented. Motion is carried. And now for the 2020 Board of Directors election. All members received via email on October 9th, 2020, a ballot and proxy for the election of the directors for the class of 2023 as recommended by the nominating committee. By ballot or proxy, we have 14 votes in favor of the election of the full slate of directors. We need to use the chat feature once again to communicate if there are any objections to the director's slate. Any from the audience? Hearing none, we have a majority vote in favor of the election of all the directors. Can I have a motion and a second to ratify the election results? Steve, thank you. Second? Thank you, Patrick. Couldn't see you back there. Again, we have to use the chat feature if there are any questions or objections. Good to go. The motion is carried. I'd like to welcome the class of 2023 to the Board of Directors for NYSID. As I close out the last 3 years as NYSID's board chair, I want to thank the incredibly dedicated Board of Directors for their ongoing support of the program, as well as the NYSID staff and all the stakeholders, public and private, who give of themselves to ensure people with disabilities have the opportunity of acquiring a job. Work gives one dignity, pride, and a sense of self-worth. That is what NYSID is all about. Creating opportunities for individuals who otherwise would have a difficult time of securing gainful employment. I would also like to thank and recognize 3 of our board members who will be leaving us after this week's session. Françoise Danevsky, a former board chair and longtime board member, as well as 2 independent directors, Mark Tabano, who was the chair of our Finance Committee, and Mark Farrington. We thank them all for their dedicated service to NYSID's mission. And I personally want to thank our President and CEO, Maureen O'Brien, who has done a remarkable job of navigating our troubled waters, especially in the last 8 months. Her leadership has been exemplary, and although she had no idea 2 years ago what she was in for, her response has been tremendous to our industry, all of the forces that are at play, and this year's pandemic. Thank you, Maureen, and as many board members have articulated, you are the right person at the right time to lead NYSID. This past year especially has been extremely challenging for NYSID and the world in general. As unemployment rates soared and many lives were lost due to COVID-19, our mission-based program suffered greatly with lost jobs and many contracts in peril. Fortunately, as a result of management's quick response to the pandemic, securing $1.1 million in the Paycheck Protection Program allowed NYSID to maintain many staff positions fully that otherwise would have led to greater losses for the organization. Unfortunately, our worries are not over. We continue to confront the loss of jobs and contracts that have made our program so successful over the years. The short-term outlook remains difficult, but the long-term outlook is forever optimistic as we continue our mission of providing work opportunities for people with disabilities, as well as now our veterans with disabilities, a nice addition to NYSID's mission. And I want to personally congratulate all of our award winners today. You are all a shining example of why our Preferred Source program changes lives. I would now like to introduce my good friend Stanford Perry, NYSID's Vice Chair, for his comments.
Thank you, Kevin. The times in which we live require decisive, dedicated leadership. NYSID has undergone unprecedented challenges brought on by this pandemic and the downturn in the state's economy. Nevertheless, under the visionary leadership of our board chair, Kevin Crosley, we've been able to weather the storm as a team, and as a result, our resilience as an organization continues to be strengthened. Kevin has skillfully led the board through our transition from one president CEO to our current one, and he has done so with passion, integrity, and thoughtfulness. So I pause to say thank you to Kevin as we prepare for yet another transition in the leadership of this board. The good thing is that Kevin is not going anywhere. Kevin's participation will continue as our immediate past president, and we look forward to his continued insight, wisdom, and his very sharp sense of humor. As we embark on this new decade, I cannot help but think of the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., who said, and I quote, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And moving forward we shall. Because our mission requires that each of us use our collective energy to create change. And not just change for the sake of change, but change that produces progress and jobs and meaningful employment and value and purpose in the lives of thousands of individuals with disabilities throughout the state of New York. I look forward to working with our dedicated board of directors over the next couple of years as we plan, strategize, and implement a successful agenda for the future. We will marshal the collective strength of our member agencies, the thousands of people employed through NYSID contracts, their families, our corporate partners, the not-for-profit community, and our friends in government to foster even greater opportunities for our workforce. We can do it. We will do it. We have no other choice. Lastly, as Maureen O'Brien, our President and CEO, completes her second year, I can first say thank you for the terrific job you have done since coming on as the head of this great organization. As Kevin said, you are the right leader at the right time for NYSID. I look forward to working with you as board chair and know that under your strong and committed leadership, NYSID will continue to grow and flourish. You have our support and well wishes for a great year ahead. It is now my pleasure to introduce you all to our fearless leader, Maureen O'Brien.
So thank you very much, Stanford, and thank you to the Board of Directors. As they've mentioned, 2020 has been quite a challenge, for sure a year we never could have scripted. And I'm very proud of the NYSID team, our ability to embrace change and drive our mission forward in a business environment that was unpredictable in every way. I'd like to acknowledge State Education Department Deputy Commissioner Kevin Smith and Assistant Commissioner Salon Myers-Ruff. Working through the pandemic while being mindful of the people we serve requires a thoughtful regulator. Kevin and Salon worked closely with us as we shifted our compliance efforts remotely and allowed flexibility as we worked with member agencies and corporate partners where individuals with disabilities could not be on the job due to underlying health conditions. I thank them for their ample time and their oversight and their commitment to us. NYSID was plowing forward on a number of new initiatives in 2020 before COVID-19 made us quickly pivot. A few highlights include we hired a dedicated private sector sales representative and began a formal push to sell goods and services to the private sector. I'm pleased to announce that in 2020 we have a portfolio of private contracts over $5 million. Albany Medical Center, Troy Innovation Garage, Capital Region United Way, General Electric, and Callanan Industries are just a few of our new private sector customers that have made a conscious decision to diversify their supply chains with NYSID. In October 2019, NYSID updated our strategic plan to include diversity, equity, and inclusion training for the board of directors and staff. We completed that training in June through our partnership with Sujata Chowdhury of Tangible Development. I'm proud of the diversity of the staff at NYSID and the manner in which, sorry, I got one page out of order, and the manner in which all the staff feel included. Of the 71 employees at NYSID, 66% are women, 34% of the staff have self-identified as a veteran, minority, disabled, or LGBTQ. We continue our tuition reimbursement program to create equity. In 2020, NYSID had 4 women participate in the tuition reimbursement program, working toward and earning bachelor's or associate's degrees. Of the 4, 3 are working moms and 2 are minorities. I received this year a Community Connector Award for leadership in diversity, equity, and inclusion from the Capital District Business Review. The award recognizes companies, organizations, and individuals that excel in all areas of DEI and have shown exceptional commitment to promoting the practices that advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace, the community, and business leadership. NYSID continues to create a significant social media presence for our member agencies and their work, capitalizing on advocacy for the individuals with disabilities we jointly serve. We partnered with the University of Notre Dame MBA program and Adelphi University, working with students to complete capstone projects. Both programs help NYSID to identify new markets for goods and services and prepare draft applications to the New York State Procurement Council. We finished the process of updating the NYSID State Education of New York designation agreement to include veterans. This agreement will be in place through 2023. We continue every single day to rebuild relationships with stakeholders, member agencies, corporate partners, customers, and regulators through transparent and honest dialogue. I'd like to recognize 4 NYSID staff member milestones today. In 2020, Noreen Cronin, Contract Administration File Supervisor, and Edwin Zatofsky, New York City Account Representative, both celebrated 20 years with NYSID. In 2020, Pat Joseph, our New York City receptionist, retired from NYSID after 21 years of dedicated service. And Joe Messina, Vice President of Sales, this month just celebrated 30 years of service. When the reality of the pandemic became clear in March, NYSID moved quickly. Our entire staff, deemed essential in the shutdown, worked tirelessly to keep NYSID moving forward for our member agencies and our corporate partners. I am grateful for their diligence. We prioritized our giving efforts to combating food insecurity. Team NYSID helped to feed thousands of families by sponsoring and volunteering at 3 food drops in the region hosted by member agency Catholic Charities. We sponsored and volunteered at Feed Albany, and staff collected supplies to restock the Maria College Food Pantry in Albany. Our team partnered with the Center for Disability Services Incubator to develop face shields that were in short supply at the height of the pandemic and donated them to Albany Medical Center and St. Catherine's Center for Children. Our annual meeting theme this year is Employed, Included, and Essential. Much of NYSID's contract work in the janitorial and sanitation field is essential. Individuals with disabilities have not always had that title, essential. And I'm so proud of the over 1,500 individuals with disabilities who stepped up during the pandemic and cleaned and sanitized public buildings, test sites, public transportation hubs, and subway stations to keep New Yorkers safe. These essential jobs were competitive, integrated employment opportunities at minimum or prevailing wage. In addition, member agencies worked overtime to package and distribute hand sanitizer and cleaning products. The pride that these individuals took in their work was and remains admirable. The NYSID team worked diligently with our member agencies and corporate partners to assist them in managing a new and complex business environment. Some contracts were suspended due to the shutdown. We collaborated to move those individuals with disabilities now out of work to new COVID-19 emergency contracts. We created the COVID-19 Emergency Loan and Grant Fund to assist with equipment needed to expand cleaning operations or go remote in employee training and development. We've worked doggedly on the collection of payment from public customers, many of whom were transitioning to remote work locations to ensure the cash flow concerns of our member agencies would be mitigated. Although the shutdown in the spring affected our ability to grow our jobs number over last year, I could not be more proud of the over 6,000 jobs created in 2020 on NYSID contracts. 5,277, or 76% of those jobs, were competitive integrated employment opportunities for individuals with disabilities. They earned an average hourly wage of $18.85, and the total taxable disabled wages earned in 2020 were $71,419,000. We take our mission of advancing employment and other opportunities for individuals with disabilities very seriously. And during the height of the pandemic, painful disparities that continue to exist for individuals with disabilities were highlighted. Research has proven that individuals with disabilities are at a much higher risk of becoming infected and dying from COVID-19. In March, school and day programs were shut down, and individuals with disabilities were sent home to receive support in a remote environment that was often impossible for both the individuals and their families. In April, when PPE and testing was prioritized for hospitals and nursing homes, disability services providers did not make the cut because they weren't considered health care. Disability service providers came together as a community to fight for their staff to be recognized as essential workers, and finally got that recognition, but not before many lives of staff and program participants were lost to the virus. In June, when planning was underway to open hair salons and restaurants in New York, individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities remained in lockdown, and group homes unable to see their families. And in July, for the first time in NYSID's 45-year history, the New York State Division of Budget canceled a preferred source contract. 50 individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities were displaced. Our industry must combine forces and work together to ensure that the New York State budget is not balanced on the backs of individuals with disabilities. The primary driver of economic security is employment. Those without employment opportunities are more likely to live in poverty. It's a very simple equation. Policies and programs like preferred source contracting through NYSID can sustainably improve the quality of life for an individual with a disability by focusing on employment opportunities. We're committed to continuing to work at leveling the playing field. Working together, we can remove obstacles and lower the boundaries so that the focus is rightly on one's abilities and the supports needed to succeed. Our member agencies, corporate partners, supporters, and regulators are proof of the incalculable value of what NYSID's mission can provide, not only for folks receiving services, but by extension, their loved ones and friends. Please enjoy this video. That's a recap of our 2020.
These are face shields that have been put together with the collaboration of thank you very much, the Center for Disability Services and the New York State Industries for the Disabled.
We started that conversation with NYSID the next day, and within a week we had an agreement in place. It was super simple.
Thank you. So we are honored to recognize individuals and organizations who bring our theme, Employed, Included, and Essential to life. Recognition motivates us to reach our potential. It reinforces that we have something positive to contribute. Please join us in saluting this year's honorees, starting with the 2020 Preferred Source Champion from the New York State Legislature. NYSID is pleased to shine the spotlight on Assemblymember John McDonald for his advocacy of thousands of individuals with disabilities throughout the Capital Region. Assemblymember McDonald is always willing to have an open dialogue to improve employment and other opportunities for those with disabilities. When the Division of Budget canceled the upcoming Center for Disability Services contract for print and mail fulfillment services for the OTDA, John led the call by local legislators asking Governor Cuomo to intervene to protect those vital jobs for individuals with disabilities. John called attention to the negative impact that this would have on the community members, standing up for their right to earn a living and live as independently as possible. Finally, John is the lead sponsor of new legislation that will support jobs for individuals with disabilities through supply chain diversity and the procurement of personal protective equipment, PPE. Many of our member agencies have marketed similar items over the years, but this legislation could open the doors to new production opportunities and meaningful manufacturing jobs. We are indebted to him for his commitment to making the Capital Region and New York State more inclusive for all. Please join me in welcoming Assemblymember John McDonald to the stage.
Well, thank you, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be here, and to NYSID, to Maureen, to Kevin, to all the leadership. Thank you for the opportunity to be recognized, but the reality is the thank you goes to you. The leadership, the board, the member agencies, you do the grunt work. You're out there in the field. You're making sure that every individual has an opportunity to succeed in life. I've been very fortunate and blessed in my 35 years in pharmacy to work very closely with individuals with, I don't like to say individuals with disabilities, but individuals with untapped abilities. Whether it's in the mental health field, the developmentally disabled, those individuals want to be important, just like we do. They all want to have a sense of meaning, a sense of place, an opportunity to contribute. And it's through the leadership of NYSID and their partner agencies that they're given that opportunity. Yes, the Division of Budget's actions this year kind of actually gave me a renewed focus on preferred source. We were working on the legislation that Maureen had talked about, and then this kind of just, I guess would say, got in our way, for lack of a better term. What happened was not correct. It can't happen again. And although Maureen looked sternly at me when she was saying this in her message, that we can't have this on the backs of the disabled during the budget this year, I know she meant the group as a whole. We can't let this happen again. It's not right. It's wrong. And we, as a society, need to do better. Thank you very much.
Next, we recognize two member agencies who have created livelihoods for individuals with disabilities in their respective communities through consistent preferred source employment. Each has dealt with the COVID impact in their region, stepping up to support customers and allowing many workers to keep getting that all-important paycheck. The ARC, Erie County, New York, is the 2020 Member Agency of the Year representing upstate. At a time when so many workshop programs ceased operations, the ARC, Erie County, reimagined employment as a community model. Its custodial program has developed into an effective business solution which allows janitorial and lawn care experts to work in state and local government settings throughout the region and receive competitive wages. When Buffalo experienced the largest COVID-19 outbreak outside of New York City and its surrounding counties, the ARC's cleaning program stepped up its services with enhanced sanitizing and disinfecting throughout the city of Buffalo, including transportation areas, public works, and other essential sites. One of the workers who rose to this challenge is Amy Espinosa, who represents ARC Erie County, New York's job, opportunities, and work performance as Employee of the Year. Please enjoy this video.
Take that. You got a bag?
Yep, it's right on the end.
There you go. There we go.
Me and my supervisor go out every day about 11, and we go to like each building and like clean like a section of it, or pretty much like the whole building. Sometimes it's in sections because we don't have to clean the whole entire building. We usually clean like the bathrooms, garbage, vacuuming, sweeping, mopping, stuff like that.
The janitorial division service NYSID accounts for Erie County. Operationally, you know, we set up to run the division of janitorial like a business, you know, like a full-fledged business. For me, what come into the arc was personal, with having a person with disabilities that's a part of my family, that I know with the community how important it is for them to be not left behind in the community and moving forth in all aspects of life.
The ARC Erie County, New York has been in existence now for over 65 years. We support over 2,000 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It has been our mission all along to provide the most quality services at the most direct point where they're needed at all times, and that's been our mission since day one. We moved into a community-based program in employment, and about 10 years ago, we started working more closely with NYSID to move that agenda forward for us. So as part of that is the New York State Preferred Source program that we endorsed wholeheartedly because it's given so many opportunities to us to employ so many people in this area. We currently operate 37 different contracts in the Erie County area and employ almost 70 individuals daily in various components. We are doing currently the Welcome Center for the New York State Thruway Authority up on Grand Island. We secured that contract about a year and a half ago, and that was a substantial contract for us because it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation. Through the pandemic, especially as we went through this area, our janitorial services were in very high demand by the municipalities.
When COVID began, they wanted us to start wearing masks on the bus and the train, in the sites, in the van, they wanted us to wear masks at all times. And each building we leave, we always put hand sanitizer on before and after and during sometimes. We disinfect everything. They had me come in on my off days and I would go to the water authority, disinfect their building throughout the day for like 4 hours a day. I would disinfect everything. I think it's a good thing because you never know who's gonna come in with it. No one's gonna admit they have it, so you wanna make sure that everyone's extra careful. Well, I like my job because when I first started working here, I didn't really like being around too many people. I'm not really a sociable person. I had a hard time knocking on the doors, seeing if anyone's in the bathroom. I had a hard time knocking on office doors and stuff like that. I didn't like knocking on any doors. And the more I got on the mobile crew, I go to all these buildings and there's so many people, you get used to it after a while. And then as you keep going along, you get used to the people around you and the environment you're around, and then you get comfortable with it. And it definitely broke me out of my shell for sure. Well, I used part of my paycheck. I put some of my savings, and I used part of my paycheck for my bills and usually to get to work and for lunch for work. It helps me a lot because I wasn't making that much back then, so it's definitely an upgrade of what I was making before.
Amy started with us in our after-school program doing janitorial work in our preschool and showed the aptitude, the right attitude and the right skills to move out into the preferred source world where she is now. And she's been nothing but a dynamo and dynamic in all areas, and we're so proud of her for all the hard work she's done and being selected for this year's award winner.
It's great. I've never won anything in my life. Nobody really recognizes me that much, so it's nice to actually have somebody to recognize me for once and get an award for it. Yeah, this is fantastic. Thank you. I'd like to thank Willie because he's definitely helped me break out of my shell.
Your hard work and your dailiness that you bring to us, and appreciate everything you do, and have a wonderful future.
You too. Thank you.
Please welcome Doug DeJesire, CEO, and Amy Espinoza, Employee of the Year.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of the board, staff, and thousands of the people we support at the ARC Erie County, it's very appreciative to be honored alongside Joanio Incorporated for the 2020 NYSID Member Agency of the Year. In addition to our affiliation with the ARC New York, we are incredibly grateful for our partnership with NYSID. For us and other agencies like ours across the state, employment looks much different than it did 5 years ago. Instead of having that centralized workforce that Kevin mentioned with over 400 people in a location every day, we are now spread across the county in 30 different locations, and finding these contracts have been so beneficial to our organization and to the individuals we support. I can't emphasize enough the insight and the expertise that NYSID has provided during this transition has been an invaluable resource for us as we work to create new opportunities for people every day. In our agency today, the NYSID partnership is to thank for more than 65 qualified opportunities we have and over $2 million in contracts. But as impactful as these opportunities are, it's a fraction of the $72 million in wages that Maureen had mentioned that NYSID plays a role in securing across the state. It is also a great pleasure to be sharing the stage tonight with Amy Espinoza. Amy's story epitomizes what a strong work ethic combined with NYSID's employment opportunities can accomplish for somebody. Our work would never be possible without folks like Amy that overcome tremendous obstacles in their own life to become very, very trainable, reliable, highly qualified employees that represent not only our agency, but they represent themselves really well in our community. We know there's a lot more work to be done to have more gainfully employed folks in this area, but we're very, very lucky and fortunate to be partnered with NYSID. Thank you very much for the award.
Congratulations to the ARC Erie County. Doug and Amy, congratulations. The 2020 Member Agency of the Year for Downstate is Joanio, another example of pride and diligence that individuals with disabilities have put into safeguarding communities this year. Joanio and NYSID have partnered on employment opportunities throughout Rockland, Westchester, and other counties for 25 years. This has provided long-term, consistent livelihoods for so many, including tonight's Joanio Employee of the Year. Excuse me a minute. I have one more paper. Excuse me. Joanio's cleaning company has done a tremendous job in gaining customers who value its skilled services and enjoy having an exclusive work environment. Many of these customers have been operating businesses as usual throughout COVID-19 and have counted on Joanio custodians to keep their sites clean and safe for employees and the public. Let's enjoy this video featuring Joanio's soon-to-be Workforce Development Center and Gerard Acer, a 20-year veteran in the cleaning program. Please enjoy the video.
Of the flooring in the building. It just needs to be washed with a little soap solution and water. What this is doing is it looks like a huge cafeteria, but we developed in such a way you'll see that it has all types of electronic equipment in here. Because NYSID has given us the opportunity to have so many people show that hiring people with special needs is really the right thing to do. We've been involved with NYSID for over 25 years. Our cleaning company is just fabulous. The cleaning company has over 80% of disabled labor. So we had over 140 individuals in courthouses, in schools, in the MTA, in the Yeager Center, which is our county complex, in White Plains, in the courthouses in White Plains. They had to keep operating, and they were dependent upon our cleaners to keep them safe. Our cleaners took their responsibility so seriously. They listened to their training, they kept themselves safe, and they went in there and they did a fabulous, fabulous job. I am standing in front of Juanio's new headquarters that will open in a few weeks. A big part of these headquarters is the Juanio Training Center. And in it, we will continue our training for people to work in the community in competitive jobs. It is equipped with state-of-the-art technology so we can reach our people in Orange County, in Westchester County, and we can teach them green cleaning. Our entire cleaning platform is a green cleaning platform, and NYSID has been with us every step of the way. The person that will accompany me to Albany is so excited to be celebrated, but he's even more excited to be able to have had a job all these years through NYSID and to feed his family and to buy his car and to be able to keep working despite his disabilities.
He's been one of the most consistent, hardworking people that I have. He's a lovable guy, you know, he listens well, he always asks questions, he doesn't dive into something he's not sure about. You know, he's always got a joke and he's lighthearted, and you know, I enjoy working with him. Gerard is one of the people that I have under me that is always willing to go above and beyond. I mean, he calls, you know, and asks me if I need anything else done. You know, I'm almost done over here. I said, no, Gerard, we're good, you know. He's a little modest about himself, you know. He sometimes feels as though he's not doing a good enough job or he hasn't done enough, when in fact he has. You know, Gerard's job is always done 100% completed. There's never any complaints. There's never any worries with Gerard.
Get the table today.
Okay.
And on top of the cubicles.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, I'll hit that.
Make sure you hit the doorknob like usual.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
Gerard has relationships with, he's built professional relationships with the people that work in this building. You know, the cops, the DAs, lawyers, attorneys, everybody that works in this building, they all know him.
Goodbye, Sarge.
Goodbye, Jerry. Have
Thank
a
you.
nice night.
Okay, thanks.
All
right, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Okay. I just want to thank Stacy and Jill Warner so much, and especially NYSID, for making this possible, for enabling someone like me who is reaching the twilight of his working years. I'm hoping to put in at least 10 more years, God willing. I'm 55 now, and I just didn't dream I would get an award like this. And it's given me a chance to give back to my community, and as a disabled person, to be independent. Everybody was so good to me, and these people helped me, a disabled person, give back to the community. And I never thought I'd really be able to give back this much. I'm just having such a good time working with all these great people, and to have the opportunity to give back. Thank you, NYSID, so much, and Juanio for awarding me to do something I enjoy so much. It's just more than I dreamed of. The people here are just so positive, and they're concerned about the individuals. And I look at Gary with so many talents, and I say, this man who's all over the place, going to different sites and doing all these things, could earn so much more money doing something else. And I say to myself, he's got 2 young children he's got to care for, and he just keeps giving. He just keeps giving. I'm just so honored to be part of it.
Without NYSID, we would not have been able to give so many people the dignity of a paycheck. Over the last 20 years, Juanio's employed over 6,000 people. Many of those people have been through NYSID contracts and supported through the preferred source effort to allow people with disabilities the opportunities to prove themselves. So I want to thank you so very, very much for this. We will treasure this, And I already know that our staff are really looking forward to seeing the award in the Juanio Workforce Development Center, where it will sit and have a very prominent position. Thank you.
Please welcome Jill Warner and Gerard Acer, Employee of the Year.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Kevin and Maureen, for your leadership. They've done a fantastic job. Maureen, in a very short period of time, she's a quick study, and she got us through one of the worst periods probably that we've been through in our lifetimes. Gerald calls me every few weeks or every few months just to let me know how he and his family are doing and to say thank you. And it's me who should be thanking Gerald, because he does so much for so many people. You see what a kind person he is when you see him on the film. You know, he's so grateful that he's supporting his family. I'm so grateful he's part of the Juanio family. You know, in March and April, when things were so bad, when people were so uncertain, they didn't know what was going on, how do you catch it? What's going to happen to us? Our cleaning company stepped up. They went out there. They learned how to take care of themselves. They learned how to do deep cleaning and sanitizing. We bought new equipment for them. And they were out there every single day. You know why? Because they knew they were important and the jobs they were doing were important. And you know what? People with special needs step up. And they're there. And they're the best employees anybody can ever hire, as everybody knows here. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's been so impressive to me. And Gerald, I want to thank you for reminding me, and sometimes when the paperwork gets overwhelming and I start to get a little crazed, I get a call from Gerald, and it's just a thank you. And it brings me right back down to the good in the world. So thank you, and thank you, NYSID. Gerald, would you like to say something?
To the state of New York, to Westchester County, especially, who's given me a home with Section 8 housing, which has enabled me to enjoy benefits, and actually now, for the last 20 years, with Juanio, to have a respectable, competitive job, competitive type job. I'm limited to my disabilities, how much time I can work, but it's enabled me to have my wife over there, Lucille. We're going to be having our silver anniversary next Memorial Day, and that first paycheck of the month that comes in, that's always has a little benefit on it. And it lights up my wife's life. She goes out to the store. She was at Lord & Taylor's trying to look nice for today. And we had enough money to make sure that she would be able to pay her credit card and get some nice things to look nice. And it's just enabled us to do so many things. It's enabled us to give Christmas presents and birthday presents to our loved ones, my brother's family in Rockland County. Now he works in Rockland County in Pearl River. He has his own brewery. But it's enabled us to actually give presents to the children, nice presents. And my doctor said to me at the hospital, he said, "You are the only patient I've ever had with your diagnosis that still has a relationship with his family." And Juanio has empowered me to do this. It's empowered me to go to work every every time I'm called and to do my job. The police have been so good to me. They've given me so much respect. They've been so kind to me. And we had a lot of police in our family, and many of them passed away by now, and not many military also. My godfather, my uncle, was in a destroyer escort in World War II, and he's very patriotic, and we're grateful to be part of the city of part of Westchester County. It's just been, I've been in Westchester County my whole life, really, except for when I was treated sometime for my disability other places. But I'm just so abundantly grateful to have the opportunity to work with Gary, who is an unbelievable human being, such a nice person, and to work for Jill Warner, who saved my life, really, when I had blood clots and a broken foot at one point about 5 years ago, around near the time I won the Jocelyn Award for my group. And it's just been such a happy life that I thought I would never be able to have a beautiful wife like Lucille.
Thank you. We're going to take pictures after, okay?
It's now my pleasure to present the Customer Awards. NYSID's customers create jobs for individuals with disabilities by procuring through the state's Preferred Source program. This support showcases the capabilities of the workforce and how employment impacts New York's economy. We appreciate our customers, especially during a year without precedent, where customer loyalty has kept individuals with disabilities working. The New York State Insurance Fund, NYSID, is the state government customer of the year. The purpose of NYSID is to guarantee that workers' compensation insurance is available to New York employers at the lowest possible cost. It also provides timely payments to injured workers. As a procuring agency, NYSID makes employment possible for individuals with disabilities through its need for data imaging, secure document destruction, janitorial, mail fulfillment, and other services. We're so grateful that a data imaging contract that began in 2009 has expanded to provide integrated work at NYSID's local Albany facility. We're even more grateful that at this time, transition to a remote workforce due to COVID, NYSID chose to entrust its full document processing needs to the team at SecureScan, a NYSID corporate partner. As you'll see from this video, SecureScan adjusted its workspace and process flow to take in all of NYSID's claim mail and then convert it to electronic images. Please join me in appreciating how the 2020 State Government Customer of the Year, the New York State Insurance Fund, supports NYSID purchasing that powers employment. Enjoy the video.
Pretty amazing how you have retransformed this space. So this was all open. How many people sat here before?
We actually have about the same room.
Thank you to the New York State Insurance Fund, our state government customer of the year at New York State Industries for the Disabled. I'm here at SecureScan, the on-site location for document imaging for the insurance fund. When the COVID-19 pandemic crisis started, the insurance fund had options that they could secure sites for document imaging. We're thrilled they chose to keep it with NYSID and keep employing individuals with disabilities during the pandemic.
Shanika.
Yep.
How you doing?
All right, Shanika, we got a picture of Senator Breslin at Ariana's desk.
SecureScan has provided document scanning services to the New York State Insurance Fund for well over 10 years. The document imaging process that we provide for the New York State Insurance Fund includes multiple different jobs and tasks. It all starts when we receive the documents. We open the mail, sort the documents into different categories. Then the mail moves on to someone to prepare the documents to be scanned. So we remove staples, paper clips, unfold documents. The next step, we scan the documents, converting them into digital images. Once they're converted into an image, we do a 100% quality check on each and every page to make sure that the image is acceptable. Then it moves on to a data entry process where we have 3 people involved in the process of identifying the documents. The first person types an entire batch of documents, a second person types the exact same batch, and then we do a data compare. Whatever doesn't match 100%, a third person corrects. This way we get an extremely high level of accuracy for our customer.
And then we write the date of when we get them to 9/25.
Okay.
We put it on this box. I like my job because it's fast-paced. I've always do fast-pacing to my previous job till now. And communicating with the coworkers and my boss as well. I am a people's person, so I enjoyed with that. When COVID hit in March, it was a little bit difficult because of the transportation getting to and back from work and home. But as our numbers become a little bit flat, it managed to become a little bit more easier and more, less stressful. Well, I would like to thank my job coach for actually giving me a job here and the opportunity to work here as well. And I also would like to thank Becky and Chuck for hiring me for actually being a part of the Secure Scan family. Coming here was definitely a level up from my actual career goals, for sure.
Just looking to see if there's any scan lines. It's gonna be hard to see because it's moving so quick on the...
This NYSID corporate partner hires individuals with disabilities from Northeast Career Planning to process thousands of medical bills and policy documents for NYSIF each day. This collaboration has been in place for over 10 years and has expanded to currently provide employment to more than 40 people.
We are so grateful to NYSIF for all the opportunities, even during the COVID pandemic. We were able to stay open the entire time, provide services for them, and everyone continued to get a paycheck.
Please welcome staff members from the New York State Insurance Fund to accept the State Government Customer of the Year Award.
So I feel like we should be giving the award to NYSID. You guys were so flexible during COVID. It was such a hard time for us because a lot of our work comes in paper form and gets scanned and indexed. But during COVID, nobody was in the offices anymore, so we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. And I think the underlying theme with NYSID is what a dedicated group of people. I mean, they just were so flexible. Moved off site, started, doing new work. It wasn't just the regular scanning we were always doing. They took on new work, and we basically have a full-blown virtual mailroom thanks to NYSID. I think that we basically transformed the way that we're doing our business with NYSID, and that we can do everything with them virtually now, and we trust them 100%. I think Chuck said on the video that they have 100% accuracy, which is right. I think that's, I wouldn't say it's more we get from our own staff, but you're going to get a good product every single time. They are such a hard working group of people, so thank you very much.
You're welcome. Congratulations. Congratulations once again to the New York State Insurance Fund. Our next award is to a local government or public authority that truly supports inclusion for individuals with disabilities through its purchasing. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority is the largest transit network in the country, serving more than 1 billion riders each year. Its subways, trains, and buses throughout New York City's 5 boroughs have been critical in times of great emergencies, including the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. We all saw the news coverage out of New York, where the subways in particular served as a lifeline for essential workers getting to their jobs at hospitals, nursing homes, public safety officers, and other sites that remain open. The MTA turned to NYSID for nightly high-touch point disinfecting services at over 50 subway stations, work provided by 4 member agencies and a corporate partner. These workers with disabilities have supported the front lines with appropriate training and personal protective equipment to serve their communities and this valued, long-standing NYSID customer. Let's watch the video.
The Metropolitan Transportation Authority is the largest public transit authority in the country. The MTA carries over 11 million passengers, and over 850,000 vehicles access its bridges and tunnels on an average weekday. In order to meet this mission of service, the MTA has taken full advantage of the Preferred Source Program's approved goods and services available through NYSID throughout 4 decades. MTA contracts to put people with disabilities to work every day in the 5 boroughs and downstate counties in custodial and office positions. The MTA is a 24/7 operation every day of the year, acting quickly in extraordinary times of crisis, from Superstorm Sandy to the 2020 healthcare crisis that has upended lives. When COVID-19 hit New York City, the MTA responded to customer and worker safety concerns by instituting the highest level of sanitizing for subway cars, turnstiles, MetroCard machines, and just about every high touch point surface. This allowed healthcare, public safety, and other essential employees to get to their jobs securing their communities. The MTA turned to NYSID for specific disinfecting and safety products like sanitizers and gloves. It also reached out for additional work teams of individuals with disabilities to make public commuting spaces safe from the virus. These dedicated teams of workers provide high touch point disinfection service to a slew of subway stations in the evening and overnight hours, helping to protect MTA riders. We recognize the MTA for helping to make workers with disabilities Employed.Included.Essential. 2 of these vitally important workers are receiving NYSID's highest people-centered award for 2020. NYSID is proud of how Preferred Source workers have supported the MTA, especially in New York City's most challenging moments. On behalf of the NYSID Board of Directors, membership, and staff, thank you to the Metropolitan Transportation Authority for including individuals with disabilities in your efforts to combat COVID-19.
Although the MTA could not be with us in Albany today, we salute them for providing work to so many individuals at NYSID member agencies for many years, especially through COVID-19. The MTA's work is never done, and we are humbled to be an integral part of what they do.
Finally, NYSID is proud to present its 2020 William B. Joslin Outstanding Performance Award to 2 recipients who embody exceptional job performance and personal growth working on preferred source contracts. One award is for service offerings, the other for commodity offerings. These 2 individuals represent the best of what it means to be employed, included, and essential. Our Joslin Award recipient for services employment is David Bobbitt from FedCap Rehabilitation Services, who says he has a thing for cleaning. This has become a good thing for FedCap, as David has grown over the years to become a mentor and trainer to about 100 new team members. David is well regarded for his work at the MTA's Brooklyn hub, where he's been instrumental in maintaining a safe workplace in the midst of the pandemic. Let's take a look at David Bobbitt's passion for exceptional customer service in the face of a major health crisis.
We're here today at the Metropolitan Transit Authority headquarters. Very proud to be here today. Obviously, we're recognizing one of our employees, David Bobbitt, who is the Jocelyn Award winner this year. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here with NYSID today. FedCap is one of the oldest nonprofit agencies in the country. We're employing hundreds of people throughout New York and the city, federal, state, city customers.
MTA, FedCap was proud to be their custodials for the last 25 years. We clean from top to bottom. The bathrooms get cleaned 3 times a day. They get sanitized, they get disinfected. We use, the top products, and it requires that all employees work together as a whole team. And that's what's great about my employees here at this location at 130. They tend to be like a family. They work with each other, they actually support each other, and that makes me proud, actually.
These jobs are so essential to what we do. Certainly people with disabilities have a right to work and need an opportunity to work. And when we all come together and recognize that out of 1 million New Yorkers that are eligible to work and provide services, only 38% of those folks are actually working. Primarily the recognition of being able to nominate someone recognizes our employees so other employees can see that the work that they do means something on a daily basis. Every time they come into the building, where they're recognized for their professionalism. David is able to share that great news with his peers.
I got chills when I got the call saying that the William B. Jocelyn Award might be offered to one of my employees, and David Bobbitt. He was outstanding. He's a great worker. He nurtures the other new employees that we have. He takes the time, he has a lot of patience, and he has a history.
So my name is David Bobbitt. I'm a FedCap employee receiving the Jocelyn Award today. Well, my job here at the MTA is to make sure that we're working in a safe, healthy, clean environment. I'm passionate about my work. I work to always try to accommodate the customers and make sure that they're comfortable and that they're satisfied with our service. FedCap changed my world. When I didn't have no hope, when I was in that depressed state and I felt like the world had left me behind, FedCap embraced me and gave me an opportunity to serve a purpose in life. Best thing that ever happened to me.
David, congratulations on behalf of FedCap Rehabilitation Services and New York State Industries for the Disabled, NYSID. We present you with this award in recognition of your faithful and outstanding services that you're providing. Once again, congratulations. It's an honor, and I hope you display this in a prominent place and share it with your fellow co-workers because you've deserved it. You're a top performer, not only today but always, and we appreciate all the work that you've done for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, David.
This is an honor to receive such a prestigious award. I'm just caught words right now. It just feels good that your hard work is recognized. I always say put your best foot forward and take pride in your work and aim to please the customers.
Please join us in welcoming David Bobbitt from FedCap Rehabilitation Services, accompanied by Company President Steve Coons.
I would like to, okay, hold that. I would like to thank the FedCap organization for giving me an opportunity. I would like to thank Steve Kuhn, George Rios, John Givelli, Andy Garcia, David Lax, and all other important people in FedCap, and all my co-workers. I also like to thank the NYSID organization, Maureen O'Brien, Kevin Crosley, and Stanford Perry, and the rest of the NYSID organization presenting me with this award. It's definitely a pleasure and an honor to receive this award. And, I just also want to say, I thank my mother, for, being a good, strong woman and a COVID survivor. And I also want to, send a shout out to my brother Eugene Bobbitt, who's also a FedCap employee. The fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. And I just want to thank everybody for the time, and I really appreciate it.
Congratulations once again, David. I just wanted to make a few remarks. And first of all, good afternoon, NYSID board members, Maureen O'Brien, NYSID staffs, corporate partners, legislative and source champions who are supportive and advocates of the NYSID Preferred Source Program. It is much appreciated. This year, like no other year, 2020 has seen its fair share of challenges, particularly as we all had to manage and deal with the coronavirus pandemic. Thankfully, and because of NYSID's preparedness planning and strong supports, we have overcome these challenges together. And although we have delivered the much-needed critical services based on our collective abilities to be prepared in advance of the pandemic because of the skill training offerings that we routinely practice. That training enables our employees, people with disabilities, to learn and acquire the work skills needed to be on the front line to ensure our work sites are disinfected, clean, safe, and open for business. For our stakeholders like the MTA, who was just profiled, so they can conduct their respected mission in an environment where they know every precaution and protocol have been taken to prevent and eliminate the coronavirus from their workplace. Today, I want to recognize David once again. David, as you have seen, is an outstanding performer who is recognized by his fellow employees, peers, management team, and the MTA staff who have attested to his hard work ethics, commitment to job excellence, and overall values that exemplifies a valued employee. And we at FedCap Rehabilitation Services are extremely proud of David. And David, your Jocelyn Award, once again, is well-deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Our Jocelyn Award recipient for facility-based employment is Robert Yessi, who works in the Liberty Enterprises production area at Liberty ARC in Amsterdam. Robert has come into his own over nearly 10 years on the job, taking on more responsibility in the production of chemical supplies and thus earning more in the process. Economic security has helped him move from his parents' home in the country to an apartment in the city. This past year, Robert took on even more responsibility when Liberty Enterprises became an essential producer of sanitizers and disinfectants that have helped make NYSID customers, including MTA sites, safer from COVID-19. Robert says that being able to provide important products to our community makes me feel good. Now let's see what else Robert has to say.
So first, when we first started working, I was like, oh, it's just, another day at work. And then I realized what our products were being used for. So the job felt like it had a much bigger meaning than every day, show up to work, clock in, clock out, go home. I was coming in, helping people that needed help, letting other people's lives function as normally as it could by wanting to have those forms of transportation or whatever type of sanitizer is being used to keep work areas safe.
So when COVID hit us in March of this year, we immediately realized we were going to be essential. We provide products for janitorial purposes, we provide disinfecting cleaners, we provide hand sanitizers through Gojo Purell. And not only did we realize we were going to be working, we quickly realized that we would need to add a second shift. Robert was one who had been leading our chemical fill area, and when we needed a second shift, really I needed familiar staff because they were going to have less oversight than they would during our typical business hours. And Robert was somebody I could rely upon. I immediately asked him. He graciously accepted the offer, and he led a team of 4 to produce into the late night hours, and we were able to meet huge volumes on a disinfectant that was important. Being a partner with New York State Industries for the Disabled has been of utmost importance to our agency. Since we started many years ago, I think our vocational program was the very first program. And through the preferred source, NYSID affords us the opportunity to link to New York State customers and help us manage the ongoing nature of the business. They provide opportunities to us, which in turn provide more and more opportunities to people with disabilities. Employment services and our opportunities that we provide through Liberty Enterprises are extremely important to people with disabilities. They find a setting which they can be mentored, which they feel supported, where they have opportunities for growth, and where they can make meaningful relationships that last a lifetime.
I think it's important for people with disabilities to have job opportunities. I guess a good example is I know some of the staff that work at Liberty didn't realize the amount of people with disabilities that there are until they go to a facility and they see actually how many are there. It's kind of something the public doesn't really talk about too much. It's more of they know people with disabilities, but they don't actually see what they do and what they are capable of because it's sometimes out of sight, out of mind.
When I first became familiar with Robert, he was kind of quiet. He was always dedicated to his work. Got right to work, got the job done, but I didn't see a whole lot of social interaction. He didn't necessarily make a whole lot of requests. However, once we got to realize his potential and gave him opportunities to try something new, he became more open with asking and expressing an interest in learning new jobs.
The job has involved numerous things, anything from packing types of soap, salad dressing. We've done stuff with syrup before in the past, different types of juice mixes. I've enjoyed the job. It's taught me more skills than my previous job has before. I've been able to do anything from learning how to run machinery to learning how a pallet jack and now in the future a fork truck works. I've been able to learn many new skills with the current job that I've had. It gives me the opportunity to be able to do more. Be able to go do things I enjoy doing. It's kind of hard not to do things if you don't have the funds to actually go out and do it. So be able to sustain the things I enjoy doing is pretty important, as well as being active and actually having something to do.
Robert's a shining example of what it means for a person with a disability to be employed. He's has so much more independence in his life. He's grown socially. He's been able to invest in his own apartment. He's been able to purchase his own gaming systems. He's been able to afford a cab to go have a movie with a friend or go to dinner. He moved into a city where he can walk to a friend's house and stay connected, and without employment and the money in his pocket to be able to afford those things, he wouldn't live as full of a life. Employment surely helps him to achieve that.
I think being recognized as a award is actually is a really nice honor that just shows that even with a disability, people can get things done. My mom's completely all excited about this. She's asked me every day, when's this, or how are we doing that? And I'm just like, actually a lot of my work ethic came from my dad. I grew up with my dad always receiving all sorts of nominations from where he works for a different type of ethics. So a lot of that was learned through him.
I'm happy to present the 2020 William B. Joslin Outstanding Performance Award to Robert. Congratulations, Robert, on your win. And I'd also like to present you with this check from NYSID.
I'd like to say thank you, and everyone who was able to help me do the jobs that were done that allowed me to receive this award as well.
Please welcome Robert Yessie and Aaron Abel from Liberty ARC.
I would like to say thank you for Liberty for just giving me the opportunity to have a job and receive this award, being nominated for, and NYSID just for accepting me as the winner from the sector that I work in. Like I said in the video, the normal was, clock in and go home, just normal jobs. Once I realized that what I was doing was so more helpful, it made the job much more worth doing. And all the work I did wasn't just done by myself. I have to thank all the other coworkers I had, because not every job was just only done by me. Everything was a team effort between everyone. And I'd like to just thank NYSID for receiving the award.
So on behalf of Liberty, I would want to recognize Robert for all of his hard work. Coming into the winter, I'd already had Robert in mind to be the nominee for our agency for the Outstanding Performance Award, but when the pandemic hit, it certainly solidified that decision for me. He led a team on the second shift. I watched that video and said, wow, when they put it together and synthesized it so nicely. But Robert has been a leader in our manufacturing division for several years, and this past year to see what he has achieved, helped our business achieve on production. We overcame a terribly difficult challenge on one of the products that we had experienced fulfillment issues. He took the lead and said, I think I can help. Let me get behind that machine and see what I can do. He's meticulous. He's a leader, he's a mentor, and he's certainly our outstanding performer. So thank you, NYSID, and thank you, Robert.
So let's give another round of applause to all of the 2020 award recipients. Individuals with disabilities are the most vulnerable and underemployed segment of New York's population. Yet they care about the health, safety, and quality of life where they live and where they work, and it shows. We can't thank them enough for their service to our state's response to COVID-19 and their contributions to NYSID throughout the past year. We are stronger together thanks to those efforts.
So that brings us to the end of our 2020 NYSID annual meeting. And before I ask for a motion and a second to close, and as we have an opportunity to greet each other and get ready to have some pictures taken over here by the tripods, I also want you to be able to enjoy the special presentation from Flame the Band of ARC Lexington. So with that, I ask for a motion to close the annual meeting. Steve, so move. Second. Very good. Be safe. Thank you virtually for being with us, as well as those of you here in person. We thank you very much. Congratulations to all the award winners. Have a great night.
I'm not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, we only love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, when it's in the flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Will fly away, 'cause today I won't let the shake sink in. We were bursting through the barricades, reaching for the sun. We are warriors, yeah, that's what we become. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, when it's in the flood, wanna drown me out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me.